It's no secret that most new real estate agents fail, and I almost did too. And I'm going to break down why and what to do instead in this episode. But before I get into it, let me welcome you. Hey, friend, welcome to the Real Estate Bestie podcast. It's your real estate bestie, Rosemary Lewis. And yo, this is episode number 208. We have been at this for a while. And as I'm recording this, this is the end of 2024. And inevitably, let me tell you what I know that is happening in your life. I don't care where you are in real estate. First of all, you're getting that renewal, right? About what it's going to cost you to renew the upcoming year. You are likely evaluating like what went well this year, what didn't go well. Some of you are trying to make a decision on if you're going to pay said renewal, right? If you are going to continue on in the business. Some of you are making brokerage decisions. Like a lot this time of year, we have a lot of thoughts of transition in our industry. And I feel like that's pretty natural. And as I was thinking through just even myself, right? Because I do think that it is, I don't care where you are in business, it's a great time to like do some self-reflection. And we probably will. Like if you would like me to do a podcast about like my goal setting process, just put it in comments and just let me know. I'm happy to do that. But I wanted to really share as I was reflecting, I thought about myself as a newer agent and what I wish I would have known going in when times got tough. And let me let you in on something. So if you have been rocking with me for a little bit, you know that I sell real estate in the far North Dallas suburbs, like North DFW. I walked away from my career as an elementary school teacher. I don't know, that sounds dramatic. I walked away. God just shifted me. It was something different for me in 2017. So look, like we're nearing like the decade mark where I have been real estate full time. However, if you know the story, you know this is not my first rodeo at real estate because back when we lived in Chicago, I was licensed for a short stint, and I will tell any and everybody that real estate punked me out of the business. I was licensed. I want to say I probably got licensed in like 2003 or 4, maybe it was 2003 when I graduated college. And I don't even, maybe it was 2004. I don't know. Time eludes me. Whenever it was that I was licensed, it was only for a little while because when the recession happened in 2008, I exited stage left. The market punked me out. But I tell you, I often think back to myself, especially like with what God has allowed in the business, in my life, like Real Estate Bestie, you are here. What could that have been if I didn't get punked out back in 2008, 9, whatever year that was? I was really thinking to myself, like, I love like looking at podcasts or, you could look on YouTube where they say what I would have said to my younger self. And I started to think to myself, like, what could I possibly have said to my younger agent self that may have changed some things? Because I'm gonna just be honest, like at that time, it felt like the bottom was falling out. Well, okay, the bottom was falling out, but I know a lot of people. I'm thinking of a few friends that I know that were in real estate during that time. They weathered that storm. And not only did they weather it and come out on top, but almost everything that we've seen since then, they're like, girl, if I got through 2008, like I can do anything, right? So I just wanted to say, okay, what are some things that I would have said to young Rosemary? Then if I'm gonna say it to myself, then I'm gonna say it to you, bestie. So let's dig into it. So the first thing I would have probably said to myself is that the market is cyclical, right? And what that means is that there are going to be ups and downs in the market, and it is absolutely normal. Okay. So there are some of me, like even myself, right, were able to thrive, right, during the pandemic market when rates were really low and it was a really, really high point. It would have been a mistake for those of us to think that, you know what, this is going to last forever, right? I think about my friend Sheena. She is realtor extraordinaire, broker, team leader, all that in Illinois. And she would always say, but are you saving your money though? Right? Because it's not always going to be like this. And if you have an understanding that when the market, like what goes up must come down and what goes down, like eventually the market is going to come back up. So not to think that, I don't know, back when I quit real estate in 2008, if I thought like people just would stop needing houses. But essentially, I don't care what type of market we are in, home housing is a basic need. Like people basically need shelter. So if I would have gone from the perspective, like I was watching the news, I was like, everything was all doom and gloom. And I just thought like, oh, real estate is like a dumpster fire. But it didn't dawn on me that everybody gonna need a place to stay, including me. So if I would have thought a little bit differently about that, even as I saw changes in the market, I would have expected those changes, and those changes or the fear, right? Because here, like now in the life that we're living, think about how much fear mongering, like what's going to happen. Well, a year ago, we were like, what's going to happen with NAR and what's going to happen with this and all of these things have happened and like we still here. So I would have said, sis, the market is cyclical. It's going to go up and down, but you're going to make it. Okay. Then here's the second thing that I would have said to myself. I would have encouraged myself to be more solution oriented because back then, when I saw a problem, I saw a problem, right? You know how they say that people are either glass half full or glass half drank or full or empty. Duh, I couldn't even get it out. I was definitely back then a glass half empty type person. And, if I saw, not just a real estate problem, right? Like if I went to my favorite restaurant, it was closed, like I'd be like, well, I guess we ain't eating good today. And my husband was like, actually, it's 7 more restaurants. Like, let's just choose one, right? We just might have to maybe choose a different cuisine. But, the day is not over and horrible just because this one thing didn't work out. And having a solution oriented mindset would not have only kept me in the business, but it would have helped me to look for opportunities. So, again, going back to that market, right? There were so many banks that were losing houses or they were taking houses back. So I know a lot of agents that like really got their grounding and their footing in the REO space and like the foreclosure space. They were making relationships with these banks. They were buying properties very low, being able to sell them, had always had inventory, learned so much about the business. And that is how they were able to survive those years. Not me, right? I was just like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But the agents who were solution oriented, they were the ones who were able to thrive. And some of them, like I know a few that became millionaires in the storm because they saw an opportunity with the foreclosures. Now, am I saying that being solution oriented is easy? No, no. I'm pretty sure that they had to work a lot harder, a lot less for some money, but the point of the matter is they thought on their feet, they adapted to the market, and that's something that I wish I would have done, which would become from more of a place of solution than, oh my goodness, all of these problems. Okay. Now, here is the next thing that I would have wished that I would have said to myself. And this kind of piggybacks off of what I just said about being solution oriented. I wish I would have taught myself to have the mindset that strong businesses are built in tough times. And let's think about this, okay? Not just strong businesses, but think about your own life, right? Where are the areas where you have felt stronger, where you have felt more resilient? I'm guessing it's not when you were taking a leisurely walk around the park, right? When you have gone through a tough trial and came out on the other side, then when you have kind of a mild thing happen, then you're like, oh, well, we can go ahead and weather that. And I wish I would have thought to myself or even knew, like, you know what? This business is going to be stronger because working and making sure that I am staying top of mind and serving my clients to a high level at a high capacity. If I can do that in tough times, then it's just going to be, cream on top of cream in the easier times. So knowing that strong businesses are built in tough times, that should be an encouragement to everyone who's listening to this and like you're still in the game, right? Because let's bring up to speed. Like 2024, I don't know about you. As a matter of fact, tell me in comments, how was 2024 for your business, right? And even if like in terms of dollars, right, you still had a pretty consistency. I just know the mental stress that a lot of agents went through with the lawsuit and, our new addenda and, the election and interest rates. Like it has been a lot. But if you are still here, you're still tuned in, listening to your bestie talk about real estate, then that means that you have survived some really tough times. So when we see natural market improvement, like your business is going to be even better, right? As opposed to, I think about in the Bible when it says talking about building things, like the thing that is built on clay, on sand, when the shore comes, or when the water comes ashore, or the waves come, it's just going to wash it away. But when you build it on something that is a little bit harder, right? That hard foundation, that is where your business is going to stand. So I wish I would have said to myself, you know what, girlfriend, hang in there, because strong businesses are built in tough times. Now, this is something else that I wish I would have said to myself. And okay, I hope these people are not listening to this podcast, but you never know. Environment will make you or break you. Now, I am not only talking about like your physical environment, but I do want to touch on that a little bit, right? Everything from, where you live, what you see, like what you are able to feed yourself. And I'm not just food too, but I'm talking like what you are ingesting in terms of media and things like that. That will either send you out here thinking that you can win the world, or that you are failing at everything, right? It's either going to motivate you or deflate you. One thing that I love about living in Texas, and I'm going to talk about something else with environment, so stick here with me, but let me just tell you this. I didn't even realize this about myself. I'm from Chicago. I say that about 89 times an episode. Why people from Chicago always talk about how much bad they're from Chicago? Y'all know I'm from Chicago, but from Chicago, but was born and raised there. And one thing that I did not realize, two things that I didn't realize until I moved here. Number one, I did not realize the power of sunshine. In Chicago, there is an overcast on the city. And I truly believe that I experienced some seasonal depression. And in part, like I could have went outside and got some light, but I just didn't. Probably didn't want to get shot. Whole nother story. But you know what I'm saying, right? So moving to a different environment where the sun is on my face, it just affects my mood. It affects how I show up. Then when I think about environment, or I think about living in Texas, like people are always moving and in motion. Like if I leave this office right now and drive home, I'm gonna see like a lot of people running and being active and taking their kids to the park. And that is like telling my subconscious that I should be doing some of the same things, not to try to be like them, but getting me in motion, right? So environment, like where you physically live and all that, it makes a big deal. And we could do a whole nother podcast, right? Hit like if you ever want me to do a podcast about relocating to a market where you don't know anybody, but still building an amazing business. I would love to do that for you, because I think that moving from your hometown is a game changer. But when I talk about environment to my former self, I'm really talking about the company you keep. Because the company that I was keeping then, I'm not going to say they were bad people, because they were not bad people, but they just weren't big thinkers, right? You know, they just weren't. It was more, honestly, I can't even put it on them, because I already told you that I naturally was the type of person that saw the glass half empty. So who did I attract? People that saw the glass half empty, people that complained, people that were scared of the economy, people that didn't want to take any risk, or the risk that they did take, it was competition instead of collaboration. So having the type of folks around me that fed my fear is also what like pushed me. So, and somebody might be listening to this like, Rosemary, but I don't have any friends that push me. I don't have community. I'm so happy that you're here. You have Real Estate Bestie, right? And that's one of the reasons why we created this community, so that you can get into our Facebook group. Head on over, rosemarylewis.com/Facebook. Raise your hand. Hey, I'm in such and such area. I need a bestie. Okay. But don't get a bestie and y'all start complaining together, right? You be the light and lead them into the light. They should be in the light if they're already over there, but you be the light. But the power of having the right environment, the right community around you, I truly believe it changes. I think about when I got into real estate here, and I started telling my friend group what I was going to do, and they were cheering. Right. They were like, okay, this is bold. Right. And they weren't saying it in a scary way, but it was like, we're going to support you. My very first client Look, I'm shaking the camera. My very first client came from one of my friends. Like literally the day that I announced that I was going to be a realtor, she was like pumping it up. And I got my first client. I was under contract within the first month with this guy who's still my friend now. Hey, Glenn. Yeah. So the environment, the company you keep is going to do a wonder. It's either going to elevate you or it's going to deflate you. You choose, right? You get to choose the company you keep. And I would have told myself, girl, get around some different people, start listening to some podcasts, like really create an environment around you where it's about winning, where it's about thriving. And then here's the last thing I would have said to myself, girl, where is your faith, right? This is where I struggle with people who say they love Jesus, but they are so like doom and gloom all the time because, right, like I love an abundant father. And I'm not saying abundant in the way that I feel like, anything like he's a genie in a bottle, anything that I say that I want to do, he's just going to bless it just because. But like Rosemary, if you truly, truly, truly feel like this is where God calls you, he's gifted you for it, even in the tough times, he is going to be faithful and he's going to have the final say. So I'm gonna need you to trust God. And listen, let me tell you something, friends. I don't know if y'all know this. A lot of you do know this. Like, I live in a commission only household. Okay. Okay. Me and my husband both are full-time entrepreneurs. And for so long, I was the one that held us back. Well, I'm gonna tell you why I held us back, because I think that I initially had my trust in myself and in Corey, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm married to a great guy. And you probably married to a great guy too, or maybe not. Maybe you just got trust in you. I don't know. But at some point, we're going to come to the end of ourselves, or our own humanity is going to get in the way. And if all of your eggs are in the you basket, or in your spouse basket, or in your broker basket, then at some point that basket is going to break, because our hope has to be in something that is beyond us. And when I think that's what makes it different this time for me in real estate, because I am utterly convinced, number one, that this is exactly where God has me. And if it's exactly where God has me, then he is going to be my provision. Now, there's a book called Draw the Circle. As a matter of fact, that's what I want you to do, Bestie. I want you to go on Amazon and I want you to get Draw the Circle. It is a 40-day like prayer devotional type situation. I am telling you, it is going to change the way you think about things. My church has read this book a couple years in a row. We do it like the first 40 days of the year. And there is a passage where it says you have to pray like it depends on God, but work like it depends on you. But at the end of the day, it really depends on God, right? So you got to do the work. But when you are convinced, if I would have been convinced like God has the final say, I was trying to take things into like, my own understanding, like it wasn't happening, or I was looking at the conditions around me and I was getting so nervous, where if I would have consulted God and being clear on what he would have had me to do, I just wonder, right? I wonder if Real Estate Bestie might be like Tom Ferry and them by now. I don't know, because I quit too early, but I'm gonna tell you who ain't gonna quit no more, me. And if any of this is resonating with you, I'm hoping that you don't quit too. And I get it. Yes, I'm going to say it again. It's been a couple funky years. Okay. But I truly believe, number one, going back to point number one, to my younger self, that the market is cyclical. And I truly believe that we are going to see some improvements in market. And I'm not necessarily even saying that interest rates are going to all of a sudden change, but remember what I said, people need a place to live. So at some point, these folks got to stop renting, or they got to sell their house that's not serving them anymore. So are you going to be in position as being their go-to real estate bestie as they are making those decisions? Or are you going to let the market punk you like it did my younger self? I hope that you're going to choose door number one instead of door number two. And if there's anything that we can do to help you at the Real Estate Bestie community, we definitely want to do that. As a matter of fact, actually, I have something that I do think will help you. I created this easy guide on 6 steps to get you to 6 figures, or multiple 6 figures. Because guess what? It's the same stuff. The same stuff that's going to get you 100,000 will get you 5, 6, 700,000. Trust me, because it's what I do in my business every day, and those type of numbers I see. So head on over to rosemarylewis.com/6, or wherever you're watching. If you're watching this video on YouTube I will put it in the description box. Okay. I hope that this was helpful. I am wishing you nothing but success in 2024. Don't forget, also get in comments and let me know if you want us to do a goal setting session. Also get in comments and let me know if you want me to do a podcast about my goal setting process. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.